Dr. Aaron Chapa here in studio. Dr. Chapa, how are you doing today?
I'm fantastic, Gardy. Living the dream. Another day in paradise. A little wet out there this morning, but at the end of the day, thankful for the cooler weather coming in. Thankful for the season change, and thankful for the rain, as we definitely need it. This place has been hot.
Dr. Chapa, were you about to drop a weather report?
I was, but then I was like, you know what? I'll let Gardy do that later, or he likes talking weather. But I get excited about the weather changes, especially when you go from the heat wave that we've been having down to a little cooler temps. I'm definitely interested in that.
Me too. What does that mean for people's allergies? What does that mean for people usually that deal with issues, I guess? What's this weather change mean?
I think whenever you go from the heat down to the cooler temps is when you start seeing people just the barometric pressure shifts, and the weather change does have a little bit of a stress, but nothing's like really blooming at the moment. So from an allergy perspective, it should be fine. Depending on how much rain we actually get, it might get a little bit damp and moldy, but at the end of the day, it's not really an issue that us Houstonians deal with too much.
On my way into the building, I smelled honeysuckles, at least what I thought smelled like honeysuckles. When I was a kid, I remember my uncle's house. I used to have them all over the fence, and it was just like a memory that hit me.
Good memories.
Yeah.
Jasmine does that to me. Like I'll smell this, jasmine in the evening times. It's kind of like releases as the dusk is coming in, and I get it every time I smell it. I think of my house growing up. We had a little tree on the side that was always good smelling. So anyway, I love the weather. I love always trying to find Jesus in all kinds of different experiences. I love the blue skies. It's one of my very favorite things to observe, and it's been a constant reminder that color blue, when it's just crystal perfect in the sky, to keep your eyes on the Lord. And Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your understanding, and all your ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your path." So I try to acknowledge Him in everything. So even in the rain, even though I don't want to be wet today, because then I'd be cold, and that would be not fun.
Yeah, so we have something really big coming up quick. It's September. At Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, there's usually 2 times to detox you can detox anytime, but what's coming up right now, Dr. Chapa?
So we got a huge September detox for those that are going to participate in our 42 days a year of detoxification. This is a 21-day fast. This is the second half of our 42-day run. And the goal of the 21-day detox is to give your body a vacation from stress and stimulants. It's what Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center is known for. We absolutely love detoxing the liver, the kidneys, the bowel, the lymphatics, helping all tissues in the body get rid of waste and debris that gets built up into the tissues over time throughout the year. And there's this conversation of bioaccumulated waste buildup that over time, I was just discussing this with a group that I hang out with in the early mornings and on Tuesdays. And, an 80-year-old person that has never detoxed versus an 80-year-old person that detoxes and regularly at 42 days a year, and the person that detoxes and then follows it up with a retox. So you got 3 groups of people. You get the people that never detox because they just don't either understand it, don't believe in it, don't want to participate in it, whatever excuse or reason that they throw out there. Then you got the people that are diligently following the process, man. They're really working at it, trying to get past that emotional bond of food that so many people have deep rooted in their veins and their gene code and their expression of genes. And then you've got the people that do the detox, but man, come day 22, they're literally retoxing. They are filling themselves back up. And where's the value? Where's the benefit, right? And so the answer is if you could live to be 125 fully functional in spirit, mind, and body, as God has designed our tissues to be able to make it that far, right? But yet you treat the body poorly. You put the wrong fuel sources in. You put inflammatory foods in, processed foods in, junk foods in, excess amounts of consumption of alcohols or other stimulants that are stressful on the body. What winds up beginning to happen is you start to see this accumulation of waste, and the body will deal with a lot of the chemical exposure, metal exposure, the processed food, fake food, make-believe food, junk food that we get access to. Man, that was a lot. And I mean, I'm just like overwhelmed thinking about it. And so that is why we have to detox. We've got to get to a point where detoxification is an absolute player in our wellness plan, our longevity plan, our vitality plan. So, what do you want your life to look like as you get older? What do you want it to look like after you've done built it? If you're not happy with where you're at symptom-wise now, you have headaches, you have hormone trouble, you have GI trouble, you have symptoms of skin, issues, or you're constantly dragging through the day and you're constantly needing a stimulant to get through your morning, get through your afternoon, there's indicator lights there that could be signs that you need to start cleaning out the tissues and allowing those tissues to work as they're designed to and not whip them throughout the day because they'll wear out.
So does the body naturally detox, or is it made to naturally detox?
So again, it naturally will cleanse itself and detoxify itself out. And so the person that, treats their body poorly, they might not be able to make it to 125. But the person that just jumps on the wagon and they cleanse and then they retox, they're still in a better spot because they gave their body time throughout the year to clean out those secret places, those closet spaces, those areas in your brain tissue. See, your body will store toxins that it can't get rid of because it should be able to get rid of it, right? God designed it that way. You should pee it out, poop it out, sweat it out, breathe it out. And if you can't get those tissues to engage, those secondary and primary exit channels to engage and get rid of the waste, it'll store in your brain tissue. And that's why people, their mind is constantly foggy and they can't think through their day. They struggle with names, numbers, and words, or their body stores it, toxins, excess trash that their body cannot use. That's the definition of a toxin in fat cells. And the fat cells begin to swell up 7 times the size of normal. I mean, people don't realize that. I mean, nature's solution to pollution's dilution. So the more trash that your body is accumulated, the more volume of water it has to hold on to dilute the concentration of that toxin through more volume. And now you feel waterlogged. You feel your waistline expanding. You feel like your body just feels stressful in the joints. And there's the third place the body stores toxins.
Is that inflammation?
Inflammation in the joints.
Okay.
That's right. Arthritis, or what I like to call
Arthrongus.
Arthrongus, because there's nothing rightous about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we want to make sure that people recognize the symptoms, the telltale signs, the things that their body may be going through, and they could be a candidate for the detox experience, the ultimate detox program that we kick off twice a year. So we love doing the detox 21 days in January to reset from all the stuff that people happen to get into over the holidays.
The COVID-15?
And now in this September, it worked out really great because everybody's been quarantined and eating famine foods and gained the COVID-15, I hate to say. And it's more common than you would realize how many people have come in dealing with this weight, increase, and it can be something that we can remedy. When you can't control anything, control your diet to the best of your ability, and you'll get further down the line.
So we were just talking about our bodies naturally detoxing, right? So do we need to go on a detox like the 21-day detox because our bodies are just that toxic, or we've been putting that much nonsense and crap into it?
Yeah. So basically, when you look at the crap foods, if you will, carbohydrates, excessive carbs, refined sugars, the additives, the alcohols, the processed food, that spells CRAP, right? So that's kind of a fun little analogy to help you go, oh, yeah, I do overindulge in bread. I asked my wife, I said, do you even pick up any, gluten-free bread or any bread for the kids or anything like that? And she goes, no, I'm trying to go off bread. And, and so we know that what packs on weight and stresses out our blood sugar is carbs. And I had one of my doctor friends up in Austin talk about, she kind of views everybody has carbohydrate points for a lifetime. Most of us burn those carbohydrate points out at 18, by 18. You know what I mean? We overindulge in donuts and cookies and candies and sodas and all the junk food. I mean, the Lord knows I'm guilty. I remember being 55 pounds overweight at 15. I remember sucking down soda after soda after soda. Coca-Cola was my kind of go-to when I was at my grandparents' house. I mean, they just had a refrigerator full of the stuff. I mean, And I
You're
mean,
thirsty. You got to drink something, right? Grandma,
absolutely.
anything you want. Right?
I mean, I remember having so much of it that film would get on your teeth, and you'd be like, ugh. You know, I look back and say,
it's
what
a
was
protective layer,
yeah,
right?
I guess so. And maybe the enamel was being boiled off my my teeth.
Yeah.
But anyway, the we all are getting into excess amounts of sugars and carbohydrate spikes, our blood sugar, and then our stresses out our insulin. And then that insulin over time becomes what we call insulin resistant. And then we start moving into a diabetic state where our body's ability to manage blood sugar is altered. So from a biochemical perspective, it is having a internal effect on you that you might not even see. Maybe you've got heart disease developing, and what the whole goal of Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center is to give you alternatives to drugs and surgery and to teach you lifestyle practices, detoxification practices, so that your body can eliminate some of these or I guess navigate around some of these challenging disease storms of life. And so, detoxification has been something that I've always been a part of. I got exposed to it when I had a friend of ours diagnosed with cervical cancer. And she was told that she would never have kids, that she needed to have a hysterectomy at 3. And it was when this was all going down. And we met a man named Evan Mladenoff, the head team physician for the Kansas City Chiefs. And he goes, hey, you need to do this detox.
Wow.
And literally we all bandwagoned with her, jumped on the wagon, did it. And 19 days, cervical cancer was gone.
So did you do it as support?
Just to support her. Yeah. And now she's got, 4 amazingly beautiful, healthy, vibrant children, and they live, the same style practices today that they lived then, where they detox regularly and they're into health and wellness, and they raise their kids well. And I'm not saying that detox is a cancer cure, if you will, but anything that your body can develop, it can undevelop. And that's an important piece of the puzzle to recognize and appreciate. God designed your body to heal. You just need to give it the environment to express the healing genes more often, more frequent than the disease genes, right? Because you have an expressive, you're in your genotype, your phenotype, to express the wrong pattern of disease or to express health and vitality and wellness all the days of your life. And we want cancer or heart disease or brain issues to hit your body after you've departed the earth suit. And that would be the goal, to not have the disease. That's true prevention. That's what I want my life to look like after I've done built it, is fully functional in spirit, mind, and body all the days of my life.
Tammy made a comment on this Facebook stream, and she said, that's an amazing testimony. Are there other testimonials? Are there other people that you have seen in practice, whether it's through the detox or just in your practice every day?
I had a patient, a gentleman, he would drive down about 2.5 hours, and he had ulcers in his intestines so bad that he had basically knives and fire burning irritation inside of his GI tract. And going through the detox process, we literally had to strip his diet down to the nuts and bolts. I mean, it was a very challenging experience because we have different diets that we'll take you through on the detox, and we will help you, go through it. Like, here's the menu plan, here's a cookbook, here's some recipe ideas. But this particular gentleman, we had to strip his diet down, to just very, very, very basic foods, and, cooked, soft, steamed, foods, no spices, very bland. And it was a very challenging diet for him. And I just had to downshift even the concentration of the detox supplements and that we would use. So instead of maybe doing 3 shakes a day, I could only allow him to do 1, because 2 was more than his body could handle. And then I had to add a few little Band-Aid support products like okra. For example, it's a mucilaginous plant that basically Band-Aids the tissues. Marshmallow, very calming and soothing to the gut, and into his regimen. And what we wound up seeing is we had to do 21 days, 10 days off, and then another 21 days. And we took a guy that was on 4 or 5, 6 different types of antacids and/or digestive medications, and for almost a year and a half. And they said that he was burning holes in his stomach with the amount of drugs he was taking, but they couldn't find a solution to calm down the issue. And by taking the time to strip his diet down to the nuts and bolts and to rebuild the tissue with the supplement protocols and programs that we have, it just took his health to a whole new level. And now, I mean, I see him, his wife, his one of his grandkids, and I mean, it's just an amazing testament that food is medicine. Detoxification is a must play in helping to get rid of excess debris, waste that the body has built up. So we put him on a non-inflammatory diet. We started nudging his detox pathways to get rid of the excess trash that he had built up, and we did it in such a way strategically that it could pull him through the woods. Or let's just go to somebody that has hormone problems, hot flashes, that is cranky or having a struggle time through menopause. We put them on a detox program. It resets their endocrine axis, their hypothalamus, pituitary, pineal, thyroid, adrenal, ovarian axis, and we were able to get hot flashes to, go away. And so again, the detox isn't a cure. It's not even a treatment, really. I'm just taking the body through a journey of restoration and remineralization, getting the nutrients to saturate into the tissues, giving the body a chance to do what God designed it to do, which is to heal itself.
I like whenever you call it a vacation from stimulants and digestion stuff. I was talking to my mother-in-law yesterday, and I was like, hey, do you want to do a detox and a cleanse with me with Dr. Chapa? And she immediately heard the words detox and cleanse and was like, no. And I was like, why? If I would have reworded that and said, hey, you want to go on vacation, I didn't even have to say, like, let's do this family vacation. We're all going to do it together. Get excited. And then I'm like, all right, here's your bag. Here's your supplements.
And we're off.
21 days.
That's right.
21-day vacation.
And that's the thing, right? There is supplements involved. There is shake powders involved. So we have to sometimes cater to people's needs. So like if you're somebody that doesn't really know much about detoxification, or the word detox sounds like scary, that's okay. Let us teach you what it really means, because it doesn't have to be a diarrhea cleanse. I know what that detox translates to diarrhea, and people freak out like, oh my gosh, and he just said diarrhea on the radio. This is terrible. And so, but the reality is like, we've got to start getting comfortable with our body's processes and start appreciating that the silence, the isolation that we all have been living in, and the lack of education around this topic is definitely a contributor to why people are sick, and why people's bodies are wearing out, and why people are on, the average 50-year-old is on 5 medications. So I don't want to be a statistic, and Lord knows I don't want you to be a statistic. So if you are on medications, or if you do have symptom patterns that you were not genetically born with, I encourage you to give Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center a call, 281-554-8600, or visit our website at justlivewell.com. We have some cool surveys up there that you can take, little health questionnaires, and you can even learn more about our detox. But we have programs that we can tailor to you specifically, and we can make it something that you can accomplish. We have a 10-day version. We have a 21-day version and a 28-day version. So we take people through it. We'll teach you what foods to avoid. We'll teach you about what foods to shop for. Well, how to eat out. I mean, believe it or not, you can go out to eat, and so that it's not an issue. And so we're going to be, going through the process to unlock your body's potential to get rid of what it can't get rid of on its own. And so we're going to be using nutrients to do that. We're going to be binding up some of those toxins so that they don't get recirculated back in and contaminate your body, and make sure that we excrete them out the body like they're designed to be excreted out, either through your bowels or your urine or your sweat glands, or even your breath. And so, people don't realize that your body has a multitude of ways of getting rid of things that it can't use, doesn't want to use, and needs to get rid of.
You mentioned eating out on the detox. One of my favorite places to eat in general is Little Bella Mia. And then on the detox, it's even easier. They prepare everything there in front of you. So you can go in and say, I just want these fresh vegetables, which they are fresh.
Yep.
And they just have a pan, and you can actually watch them make it. I've been in a lot of kitchens, and there's a lot of different ways that people prepare food, and they're all great for the most part. But you don't know what they're doing unless you're like me and you have access to the kitchen.
That's right.
But right there, Little Bella Mia, it's a great way to still go out, enjoy, be with the fam or not.
And I've been at restaurants, guys, where I've asked for off-menu items. So, like, when we do get to that topic, like, can I eat out on the detox? Or I got a lot of business trips coming up. How am I going to take out my clients? Whatever the reason, whatever the excuse, I promise you, we've got patients that have gone through those situations. Myself, I've gone through it, and I've asked for options off menu. Hey, can you take every vegetable you got in the house, and can you saute it in olive oil and butter? And then tell the master chef to put his favorite little Bam spice. Just pick one without the MSG and the high fructose corn syrup.
Salt Bae, the dude, he's back there.
Yeah, that's right.
And
it's like the whole Bam thing. Bam,
Or you just bring your own.
That's right.
And
you
pull
could,
it out your
you could.
pocket and do that thing and make a scene.
I figured we wouldn't take them that far, but you can totally. I think if we learn to neutralize conversations before they become elevated, then you're always ahead of the curve. So like a lot of times I'll sit down and be like, hey, I just want to let you know I'm that guy. I'm going to ask for weird stuff on the diet this evening, and I'm sorry on the front end.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that you can work with me, and I'm just on a really weird diet. I got this crazy, nutrition doctor here in the area that's got me doing some.
He's awesome. But,
he's awesome, but man,
he
it's
works.
nuts. And but anyway, you just kind of make it fun and light, right? And then all of a sudden they get curious. They immediately don't get annoyed because you've already you kind of exposed the wizard behind the curtain that you're going to be a little bit of a challenge. But hey, let's make it fun and let's get through it. And I've had chefs make me a vegetable dish, and everybody else at the table go, I want what he had. Like, how come? Like, I didn't.
It's not on the menu.
It's not on the menu. Yeah, but he's a chef. He knows how to do more than what is on that menu. He just needs to, if he's got resources back there, olive oil and butter and spices and veggies, dude, you can't go wrong.
So you go out, you're asking, you go to the grocery store, you're looking, what foods do you avoid on the 21-day detox?
So what we're looking at avoiding primarily is what we call the top inflammatory foods. And most people know, do you happen to know one of my major inflammatory foods that I talk about all the time that I despise? Starts with a D.
Of course, I'm going blank.
Oh, my gosh, I'm so disappointed. I've failed all of my KHEA radio listeners.
What is it?
Dairy. Milk, cheese, yogurt, sour cream,
if you would have
ice
said
cream.
M, and then I'd have been like, milk.
Yeah, that's right.
Dairy.
So
Okay.
Milk, cheese, yogurt, sour cream, ice cream, whey protein. These are very inflammatory proteins that when digested in the body, they irritate the tissues of the gut lining. And when you irritate the tissues of the gut lining, it creates a level of inflammation that creates a potential damaging or injury to that tissue. And if that injury happens more frequently than healing is able to keep up with, then now we've got major inflammatory burdens. And so dairy products will be something that we're going to call an inflammatory food we're pulling out of the diet.
Hey, Molly said dairy is the devil, which I don't know if I'd go that far.
Well, I mean,
why?
Here's what I'll tell you. So I kind of am in the same boat with her. I think that it is because it's not real food anymore. It's the FDA here in the United States allows 750 million pus cells to be present in a gallon of milk. And do you know what a pus cell is, Gardy?
I was actually about to ask that because I've heard you say this statistic before, but I honestly do not know
what a pus cell.
I don't know.
A pus cell is a pocket of infection. So just like you have a snack pack full of infection. And so they allow 750 million pus pockets to be present in milk and still call it okay to be sold, right? And so it takes 10 gallons of milk to make a pound of cheese. And so that is like 7.5 billion pus cells, and I'm just kind of like, ooh, that if that wasn't nasty enough as it is, why wouldn't we, why would we still want to be on it? Okay, so then where do we go? Well, we homogenize it, we pasteurize it, we beat the tar out of the dairy product, we put hormones in Elsie, we feed Elsie all kinds of things that she don't need to be eating, that gums up her tissues, and so now she's excreting toxin out of her milk supply. And when she's got toxin coming out of her milk supply, guess where that toxin's going?
Straight into the milk, straight into our kids and us and everywhere
That's right.
else.
And now we wonder why we've got 12-year-old girls that look like they're 24 years old developed, and we have younger population of hormone glitches and cramping at once a month on the cycles, and acne breakouts like crazy, and weight gains, and all kinds of like moody irritabilities going down. And this has to do with the amount of hormone toxicity and trash that we're putting into our milk supply.
So you talked about the development of like young people. What about adults like me? Like if I was drinking and consuming a lot of dairy, how will that affect me?
So again, going back to, we look at, when we take and heat treat a protein, we're mutating the molecular structure of what was originally designed to be consumed as a raw source straight out of the teat, right? So now we're boiling that tissue, and now your body has to I figure out whether or not the that protein is a real protein or not. And that real protein is now something that becomes an inflammatory invader to your body. So every time you put milk, cheese, yogurt, sour cream into your body is having to deal with foreign proteins, and it sees that as always an inflammatory. So how does that affect you? It affects your digestive lining, it affects your pancreas, it affects your blood sugar, and it's not real food. So we always want to be looking at, why would we put fake food in the body? If you eat make-believe food, the best you'll ever have is
make-believe health.
Make-believe health. So we're going to constantly work on getting rid of the excess make-believe trash in our diet. So what else are we going to avoid?
Well, here's one question. This is, do we need to avoid raw milk? Someone asked about goat's milk.
So we're going to be completely dairy-free on the
detox.
Now, you can do almond milk. You can do hemp milk. You can do, like a nut-based milk, if you will, because they basically they crush the nuts, and then they extrapolate out the milk. It's primarily a water, more or less than it is anything else, but it does give your drink, your shakes, a little bit more of a creamy taste to it. And I know there will be people that'll tell me, oh, but there's preservatives in there. Hey, make your own. I mean, that way that there's no preservatives. And but we're trying to give people like the difference between a Snickers bar versus an apple, right? Which one's better? I mean,
tasting or better for you?
Right, better for you.
Okay, the apple's better for you.
Yeah, because you remember G.I. Joes, right? At the end, they would have the little story, and the little kid he'd go in, and the G.I. Joe would say, no, you don't want to play basketball with a Snickers bar in your gut. You're going to play with an apple, because an apple a day keeps the
doctor away.
Yeah,
but I like you, Dr. Chapa, so I don't know if I'd want to do that.
That's right.
And I just want to clarify, so this is specifically for the detox. We're avoiding dairy. In general, if somebody was to go to the store and buy milk, or go to like the farm and get organic milk, is that better?
So the store has all milk supply at the store, whether cheese, milk, yogurt, sour cream, ice cream, whey protein, any of that stuff, it's all pasteurized and homogenized. So it's all inflammatory and all fake, not real, and not healthy. And every country that has consumed milk as a means of preventing osteoporosis, building strong bones, has the highest incidence of osteoporosis, weak bones, and is not everything. Milk is not everything that we hoped it to be. You get your calcium and your nutrient, your bone remineralizing nutrition from green leafy vegetables and or vegetables. And so we just got to stop looking at good marketing that has convinced us that milk does a body good, which they can't say anymore because it's false advertising. And so the best they were ever able to do is to get famous celebs to put milk mustaches on and then have a little slogan. And so that's good marketing. And most food that people consume today is only good because of good marketing, not because it's really good for you.
Yeah, the apple versus Snickers. Hungry?
Yeah, that's right.
Grab a Snickers.
Or bet you can't eat just one. Now we're tailoring to the gambling mind and the dopamine push.
Which goes back to my vacation. You call it a vacation instead of detox and a cleanse, and it's marketing.
That's right. And I hate to say, but we've got to figure out how to play a different game in order to help people, ease into this idea and breaking the emotional addiction to food. So if you're off the detox, we're going to encourage you to avoid dairy still if you're somebody that has an intolerance to it. because you don't have to have a full-blown allergy to have an irritation. So if I constantly thumped you in the forehead every day, sooner or later that'd become irritating, correct?
Yes.
Well, dairy products is like that to most people's digestive tract. Some people would say that gluten is the number one food allergen in the country. I might contest and say that my practice has taught me that dairy has. So I could beat a dead horse on that. But so wheat is going to be the second thing that we're going to pull out. Because wheat products, again, the gluten is slowing down. The wheat is slowing down bowel motility. If the bowels don't move well, your liver can't dump into an already toxic bowel, and we're trying to get rid of old stuff, the old paperwork that your body hasn't been able to deal with from years past, or the year past, or the last 6 months. And so we're trying to give your body every means necessary to push things out, the appropriate exit strategies, your bowels primarily, urine secondarily, and this is one of the goals is to just free up the bowels so that the bowels can move freely and to work effectively, and your body can then detox more efficiently. And so wheat products and corn products slow down bowel motility up to 37%. So if you slow down bowel motility 37%, guess what's going to happen? Your liver can't only process at but a 37% decline in its ability to get rid of the excess. And so your liver's smart. It's not going to dump toxins in an already toxic bowel. So that's why we use some of the products that we use to help eliminate the excess trash out of the bowels and to clean up the diet so that we don't have bowel motility issues. And now we have a free-flowing system that will eliminate waste effectively. It's a beautiful way to go.
So the first one was dairy.
Then wheat, then corn, and then soy.
How come corn gets its own?
Because corn is not a vegetable, and we have to talk about it because it is between soy and corn, the most genetically engineered foods on the planet, especially here in the U.S. And they literally compete back and forth which one's going to be more genetically modified, meaning the seed is contaminated at that fundamental level. And so then we're putting in these genetically engineered foods, and people still believe corn is a vegetable, but I hate to break the news to you. It grows on a stalk, and so it is a grain, and therefore it is in its category of slowing down bowel motility, and is extremely inflammatory, and it's also indigestible. It's mostly an insoluble fiber, and you can't really get rid of it. You digest it well. You just kind of pass it on through as it comes in. That's why people see it on the other backside.
Okay, yeah, but I think that where it's confusing is it grows outside, and I know it grows, I guess, like on a stalk or like you said, but it's like you don't see like Twinkies or snack cakes out there, so it's like, corn's the obvious choice, better than that, right?
Absolutely. But again, if it wasn't genetically engineered, it could be like, I think in the Indian days, right, which you would remember of your pilgrim stories, and they're eating red corns and purple corns and all these different styled corns. Notice
candy corns.
Yeah, of course.
Wherever those grow.
Because those are delightful.
Yeah.
But those definitely keep me in business for sure. I mean, thank you, candy corns.
Shout out, yeah.
And but corn in general may have had some bathing effect, fibrous effect to the body. But now when we start putting in genetically engineered food, you become what you eat. So if you want to become a sugar-filled lump of dough, eat a sugar-filled lump of dough. They call those what? Donuts, right? And when we start looking at those things, those are what our body is going to start turning into. And not only that, if you like for the milk lovers, and if all we're pouring into Elsie is junk grains, that her body is now circulating these toxins around, and she's getting steroid injections, and she's loaded up on antibiotics. Well, I mean, what can you expect of her product, and then what can you expect to do with that product? And it's not much. And then so we also take out beans, nuts, and primarily the reason for beans is because beans are a protein source, they're hard to digest. And again, we're trying to pull out things that are hard for the body to digest for 21 days. And we want to give the body every reason to digest easily so that it can focus on what? The detoxification process. So it is a vacation from stress and stimulants, from from things that we put in our body on the day in and day out level. And it forces your body to reset itself and to figure out a new change, a new life, and for 21 days. And you'll be shocked at the metabolism boost, the energy boost, the mental clarity boost, the skin changes, the radiance that you'll feel, the color in your eyes will pop, your hair will change. It is just absolutely wonderful to see how much the detox affects the body on just a vanity level, then a productivity level, and then a weight loss level, and then a deep sleep level. And it's, I've had moms come in and just say, my kids love me on the detox because I play with them.
Yeah.
I have energy to go around the block. I have energy to go jump around and swim and do whatever. And then we take out sugar and sugar substitutes, because the sugar is the number one way to feed all disease. If you have a diagnosis, if you have a process going on in your body that you want to not be dealing with, getting rid of sugar is rule number one, because it feeds all yeast, bacteria. It feeds into a weakened immune system. A can of soda and a cookie can paralyze your immune system for up to 8 hours. And so now you're vulnerable throughout the day when you're out, in the public eye. And now your immune system is potentially taxed. And food is medicine, guys. I mean, we've got to go back to what you put in your mouth is very, very important. But what you don't put in is even more important. So we want to help you eliminate the things that cause you to be sick. These dairy, wheat, corn, soy, beans, nuts, and sugars on the detox. We want to pull a lot of those things out. And then we're going to, again, give your body a vacation from animal protein for 10 days. So we're not going to put in, eggs or fish or chicken or turkey or anything for 10 days. And I lose some people there.
That's all I eat. I was going to say, that's about my diet, Dr.
And
Chapa.
so when we have the people that have never detoxed before, we modify stuff. We will modify it to accommodate, you. So if you've never gone through the process and that just sounds way too daunting, don't sweat it. Don't panic. Just let us know where you're at on the scale and what you will do. Maybe you'll say, oh, hey, but just let me have my eggs. Can we compromise there? Absolutely. Can I have eggs and some fish? Absolutely. Because, again, a little bit of detox, we pulled out all those other, inflammatory burning engines that are causing distress, that are causing stress, that are causing irritation and inflammation to just rise up higher and higher in the body. And we're just allowing, these little proteins to come in. It's not the end of the world. You can do it. We can modify anything to make it more accommodating, because we believe a little bit of detox is better than no detox. Because giving your body an opportunity, when you pull out the majority of these foods to get rid of the excess stuff that it's been holding on to, well, it can do that way more effectively when it doesn't have to deal with this stuff day in and day out. And that's a cool thing.
It is. So right now it is 9:28. This is KHEAradio.com, 99.5 FM. It's Kickstart. Dr. Aaron Chapa. If you're watching on social media, go ahead and share this out. If you're going back and listening to this on a podcast platform or on YouTube or on Facebook or on Periscope, we're everywhere. Go ahead and share this out. Tag a friend if you're watching it live. Feel free to ask questions. There's a lot of questions coming in. This is from Tammy.
Come on, Tammy. Bring it on.
She wants to know, can I have black coffee?
So coffee is another one of those things that we take out on the detox. We will, allow like green teas and a little bit of black tea to try to help get you off of the caffeine drive. But again, if you're going to use an organic coffee, and that was the sticking point between you doing a 21-day detox and you not doing a 21-day detox, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let you have it, because I recognize that there's we're asking people, to get off of a lot of stress and stimulants. It's a vacation from stress and stimulants that you normally are putting in. But if you're willing to do everything else and you're willing, and that's the compromise, I think we could tolerate that. And it's not that and it won't derail you, but we may have to increase some of the mineral capacity so that your body can detox effectively, because you need a truckload of minerals to make sure that happens. And coffee has a diuretic effect and can demineralize your body. And so I would probably encourage you shifting during the detox to the green tea, all the plant phenols and bisphenols in there that are very anti-inflammatory, antioxidant rich, and black tea a little bit to kind of just curb the caffeine craving. But if coffee is coming in, maybe we switched over to a cold brew. Instead of doing the hot acidic coffee, we go to a cold brew style. It's less acidic, and but you're still going to lose some of the minerals. And for every toxic unit that your body has, you lose 2 to 3 mineral units. If I could unitize it, if I could make it like, something to understand. And so we saturate your body with a lot of minerals when you go through the detox. And so we may have to increase some of your mineral loading so that you can accommodate your, compromise.
Dr. Chapa, we have a couple more questions coming in. This one's from Keith. He wants to know about eating grits. And then I guess, I don't know, is grits made with hominy? He said, is hominy the same as corn?
It's corn. It's every time we've ever looked up grits, it is 90% that I know of. It's corn. It's a corn-based product. And so it's already digested. But again, because it's corn, it's going to be sticky, tacky, and it's going to be more of something that's going to slow down bowel motility. So on the detox, we're not going to put corn in there. Post detox, if you're somebody that can digest corn, digest corn. Nobody can really digest corn. But if you're somebody that seems to not have a direct, negative inflammatory response, you could possibly get into some of that stuff. But we got to remember, what else are they putting into the corn? Or the grits? Mm-hmm. Are they putting in milk as a base? Are they putting in, other sugars as a base? What else is coming in? So I like, post-detox buckwheat. They have a buckwheat oatmeal that I've, purchased on line and, whenever I want something like that. And it's a buckwheat cereal. And it tastes just like an oatmeal or a grit. And you can put cinnamon and vanilla, and you can even drop an egg in it 30 seconds off the, right before you pull it off the heat, and it cooks the egg just enough, but not too much that you taste egg, and it literally just dissolves right in, and you just enhanced your oatmeal / concoction.
One of the things they say, and you said it slows down digestion, and sometimes you don't have a hard, an easy time getting it out. But that's one of the things they say, like, it sticks to your stomach. If you're going to be working outside or you got a football game, eat something, have a good breakfast that sticks to your stomach so it'll keep you full. And, looking back on that, it's like, is that a good thing that it's, just going to hang out in there? And that's what they've been telling us?
Yeah, some people even say, and when you talk about wheat and glue, it's a glue, that sticks to the sides of your intestine.
Is it a binding product? Is that what it does? Have we talked about that before?
Well, it's not so much. It's not a binder by any means. But it does bind to your intestinal wall.
Yeah.
Chlorella, for example, is a binder. What that means is that it binds, it draws unto itself different toxins that your body has, built up in the tissues.
Yeah.
Or bentonite clay, activated charcoal. These are binding agents that draw toxins unto itself, and it creates, if you will, like a vacuum, and it sucks trash off the walls or out of the tissues so that your body can, when we detox it into the exit channels, there's somebody there that can escort it on out. And then when you have a strong mineral base saturation point, which, believe it or not, most people that ever struggle on a detox in our office, they have mineral issues. And we just come in and we load them up on good, healthy minerals, and then we're constantly, pushing water and making sure that they're going for lymphatic, drainage walks. So they go for a 20-minute walk. They do some rebounding. They stay active, and you'll be just blown away that things start really unveiling and helping their body, go through the detox experience more effectively.
I had asked about gluten earlier because my wife, she's been baking some gluten-free stuff and buying some gluten-free stuff, and she had pointed out to me that all of the gluten-free stuff, like whether it's the bread substitute or, it's a bagel or whatever it is, put it in the refrigerator. You got to keep it frozen or in the fridge.
It'll go bad.
And then if you are baking it yourself, it sometimes doesn't have the consistency. You have to play with the amount of stuff that you put in there.
And there's a small learning curve with some of the different ingredients that you use that aren't gluten-based. But, anytime you see on a label refined wheat flour or enriched wheat flour, if you see those as ingredients in the fine print underneath the supplement facts, that is an indication that you're putting in inflammatory, fake, make-believe food. And remember, if you eat make-believe food, Gardy, The best you'll ever have is
Make believe health.
Make believe health. And so, we don't take everything off the detox. We want people to know there's plenty to eat. We have a diet that we'll give you that will have many columns of varieties of different vegetables and fruits and things to eat. We have a cookbook that goes along with it. And, we're going to make sure that there's no reason you should be hungry going through the process. I mean, I've even in a pinch in the past, and nothing lately, but in the past, I mean, I've even gone over to got like a burrito bowl without the rice and without the beans and without, obviously any of the tortillas.
Like Freebirds or something?
Yeah,
or
well, it was probably like Chipotle or something. And then I will take and just put, a bed of lettuce. They put guacamole on it, because it's a different type. It's not an add-on whenever you don't put the meat. And of course, I don't do the sour cream, and you don't do the corn thing. But you could throw their sauce on there, and man, I mean it's delightful.
I miss burritos at 646. Rest in peace.
Oh yeah,
I miss burritos.
And so, but there's just veggies everywhere. I mean, and we just got to get comfortable in recognizing that, hey, just because you don't like it this year, you didn't like it the last 30 years of your life, doesn't mean you won't like it this year. So when we have people on detox, one of the best compliments to the detox that I always have observed is people always come back and say, I like tomatoes now, or I like eggplant of all things. I like artichokes, and I figured out how to cook this. Have you ever heard of a spaghetti squash, Dr. Chapa? And I'm like, yes, I have. And they say, and I say, how'd you like it? They go, I didn't really like it that much. I say, that's because you got to try it 3 times. Because the first time you're going to overcook it, it's going to be too mushy. The second time you're going to undercook it, it's going to be too crispy. The third time you're going to get it just right.
Yeah.
And then you'll be like Goldilocks loving on the little bear's pudding.
That happened to me the first time we cooked it, and it wasn't right. And the second time we actually did it pretty well, and so I'm a fan. Here's another question that came in on Facebook. If you are watching on social media, feel free to ask questions. This is from Crystal. She said, my kids are doing the detox with me. How do you modify for the kids ages 8 and 10?
Absolutely. Great question. Thank you, Crystal, for tuning in. And thank you so much for having the courage to take your kids through a detox, because kids today need detox just as much as adults. And I mean, because they are constantly being bombarded with candies and bribed with junk food in order to behave, which is kind of an oxymoron, because the sugar spikes cause so many issues in their nervous system and in their body chemistry and their fluctuation in blood sugars. And so good for you. I'm so excited. But the way you would modify it is we allow the protein. So they can have egg. They can have, obviously the fish and chicken and turkey, and we allow them to indulge. What we want to avoid for them is you can totally take them off of the grains. That's not going to hurt them. And they might feel hungry for a few days, but once their blood sugar acclimates and stabilizes, they'll be fine. What I would do is throw in a little bit extra fat, butter, for example. Use bacon grease in your cooking. And you could literally take your vegetables and roast them, right? You could put your spices, Mediterranean spices, or your Italian spices, or your salt and pepper, whatever, just basic stuff you want to use. And then you could literally lay some bacon strips over the top of it and just let the juices flow down into the veggies. And then just take the bacon strips off and give it to somebody else in the house that's not, on the detox. Or, heaven forbid, you have to throw away, a few slivers of bacon. But not only will the smell be enticing to eat the food, but then it's going to taste delightful once they crunch down into it and eat it. And so they will just get rid of the sugar, the high fructose corn syrup. Teach them to read labels. Look for artificial ingredients like saccharin or sucralose, which is the yellow stuff if you actually use the yellow stuff, or the blue stuff, aspartame. And when you start looking and teaching your kids to get rid of those types of inflammatory substances, you're preserving their neurochemistry. You're helping their body not have a confusion or a toxicity buildup from the chemical exposure that they're getting from those foods. Teach them to look for oils, soy oil or canola oil. I call canola oil con oil because it's a fake oil. It's junk oil. It takes, between 3 and 5 months, sometimes, depending on if that's the only source of oil you're getting, that will clog up your system and stress out your liver. It's one of the contributors to why people have, liver, challenges, even though they don't have liver disease. And many people walking around today have liver challenges, even though they don't have a quote-unquote blood disease in their liver. Their liver enzymes aren't skyrocketed, for example. But for sure, no doubt about it, they definitely have a challenge in the way their liver is performing, and we want to see if we can get involved and help them work through that. So we take the sugar out, we take the sodas out, we take the processed junk foods out, so anything that's in a package, and we steer them towards vegetable options, guacamoles, cauliflower rice, cauliflower potatoes, avocados, hiding avocado slivers in the shakes to make the shakes more fatty and creamy, using different Instapot recipes to just to bring flavors in, using bone broths. They can still use the bone broths. I mean, everybody can. But these are just different things that help make sure that the kids get tons of nutrients when they're coming in, and they can still have the eggs, fish, chicken, turkey options as proteins.
Here's another question. This is from, and I hope I'm saying your name right, Terre French, T-E-R-E. Thank you for watching. Maybe it's Terry, but she wants to know a list of, and I thought this was interesting, a top 10 foods to remove from your diet. So we have the five deadly ones you remove. If you could add any 5 to the bottom of that.
So are we just talking about in general or specific to the detox?
I think maybe.
It don't matter. Yeah. I got it. So if I were to look at the top 10 most inflammatory foods that the American populations are consuming, I would say that it would go wheat, dairy, and those could, like I said, these alternate. But I think the statistic literally is wheat, dairy, corn, soy, peanuts, because it's the most moldy food, which I would even say inside of the peanut realm, you might as well drop cashews and pistachios, because those of the 3 are the most moldy nuts that people consume. That's number 5, right? And then chocolate would be 6. Sorry for those folks, is number 6. Tomatoes, I hate to say, number 7.
Tomatoes?
Very, very inflammatory for a lot of patients, and I think that has to do with blood typing. And then you look at your red meat, number 8. And then number 9 would be pork, and number and then 10, I would probably say would be a toss-up. I mean, it could be maybe and chicken or eggs, but I would say probably more chicken because of the amount of hormone-raised, again, adulterated way that we raise up the chicken population and kind of abuse that whole process.
Yeah, but if things were like you're getting it from the farm, organic, that changes the game.
That does change the game. And I'm talking, but most people that are newbies, so to speak, they don't know the difference. They don't understand that really does matter. That it could be just good marketing. Oh, heck, that's too expensive. I ain't doing that. And so when I go through my process of looking at foods that are inflammatory, notice I did not say what was missing off that list.
Vegetables.
Other than exactly. Vegetables aren't on that. What else isn't on that list? Then people always go, why isn't that on the list? And it's sugar. Why isn't sugar on the list?
That's a good question. I know the answer.
What is it?
Because it's not classified as food.
That's
it's
right.
Not real. Yeah.
I'm so proud of you, Gardy. Good job. And so, absolutely. So it is not a food, so we don't put it in the top 10 list. And so I'm just going to pull something up. So then you might start looking at, there's some other ones that we could look at. Possibly rice is a potential issue for some folks. Again, I think that has to do with motility issues, and then maybe peas as another potential inflammatory issue. But again, I mean, when you start getting down to it, most people that come in and say, man, I have a garlic allergy, or I have an onion allergy, or I have a cucumber allergy. I mean, I've had some of this stuff, right? And I'm like, okay, I hear you, but typically if you have a sensitivity to something that's like number 50 on the list, it's because you're eating the top 10. You know what I mean? And that means if you're eating the top 10 and you have a sensitivity to the top 50, and that's your trigger that you can tell. Every time I eat that, I burp like crazy. Or every time I eat that, I feel bloated and gassy. Every time I eat that, I feel whatever. I get headachy, I get fatigued, I get whatever. They kind of blame it on. You got to go back to there's inflammation in the gut. The gut is your second brain. So the better and healthy less inflamed the gut is, the healthier the body will be as a whole. And so the gut is like the gatekeeper between the outside world and the inside world. And so the healthier and less inflamed that tissue is, the better the person digests, the better the person absorbs, the better the person eliminates. Isn't that a good thing?
Mm-hmm.
And so I want healthy and optimal digestion and fantastic absorption, and I want my body to get rid of what I can't use.
All right, Dr. Chapa, we got about 5 minutes left, so we have a little bit more to cover. So, like going out to a restaurant, we talked a little bit about that, but can you kind of go over that again? And how do you know what you're getting from the store, from the restaurant, if it is detox or health friendly?
All right. Well, number one, Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center loves to detox, so we're going to help you, give you tools and solutions for all these different things. So I just real quick wanted to just throw out there, we have our detox class on this Thursday, the 10th, and it's going to be a hybrid class, a Zoom class and a live presentation at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center at 815 East Main Street here in League City. And so call our office, 281-554-8600, and let us know how we can give you more information on that. The detox, we have patients already started. I mean, people are just gung-ho and ready. And y'all are inspired me. Our Facebook group's already starting to take off, and people are starting to throw out recipes and ideas, and that's cool. The detox starts on the 14th officially, and we'll be going. We have a second class for the detox, the check-in class, and just to kind of see where people are at on the 29th. And we're going to modify some of those and make those really fun and exciting, so we want people to tap into those. And so basically, when you're out to eat, if that's the thing that is kind of the hiccup and the wonder, again, salads, grilled vegetables are all acceptable options. Day 10 or day 11, you can add the chicken and the fish, and then you sub out your rice and your grains for extra veggies. And then, what we would call acceptable, detox-friendly restaurants that we have been able to go to and still remain detox savvy, Chipotle, Jason's Deli, Thai food typically makes my heart sing. Papa's seafood, Whole Foods is a good place to shop. Or here locally, where I like to go is to Irma's Nutrition Store here off NASA in Nassau Bay. They have a new store. It's fantastic. It's literally like a mall. I mean, it's so big in there, and it's so packed full of good stuff. So go tell Ellen and the team over there how much Living Well loves them and supports them. We've got Natural Living in League City, who they will make detox-friendly foods. All you got to do is tell them you're on Dr. Chapa's Detox, and they will literally make you a detox-friendly dish. And everything in there is fantastic and organic and locally grown oftentimes. And they have some really cool recipes to blow your taste buds away and still be eating raw, organic, and vegan, and it's pretty cool. At Bella Greens, if you live downtown or want to make a run down there. I've gone over to Skipper's in League City and Salada, Zoe's Kitchen. I mean, there's just so many different options that you can go and hit in order to find alternatives for, or I don't want to say alternatives, but find options that are detox friendly that will allow you to stay focused on your detox and not feel like you are like completely deprived. Because sometimes it's just nice when somebody else cooks for you, right? So and some of these places might not always use the best oils, like we talked about earlier. I get that out of a lot of people's diet, but again, what we're trying to do is to get you to avoid the bulk of inflammatory foods that people get exposed to day in and day out. And yes, it's impossible to eat perfect in today's modern world. It really, really is. But you can start paying more attention. And the detox brings attention. The detox experience brings attention to things that you're doing day in and day out that you can do a better job of avoiding. And you can start seeing how food is your medicine. It should be your first line of defense. And at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, we believe that all life starts and stops at the cellular level. And nutrition is the fundamental backbone that allows your body to either spiral out of control or get traction and move forward. And people, that's kind of like my little catchphrase. Like I truly believe that if you start eating well and you're detoxed well, your body is going to metabolize well, it's going to digest well, absorb well, excrete well, and you're going to ultimately, guess what, Gardy? Live well. Praise God. That's exciting. And, I just want to encourage everybody as we're shutting it down for the day that the detox experience is your opportunity to give 3 months of benefit to your body inside of 3 weeks. I think it gives your body a catapult, a launch pad into good health and good living. And it is a good practice, just like flossing your teeth, just like water picking your teeth, just like getting a dental hygiene cleaning every 6 months. The detox is 42 days a year. I don't care if you do 10 days. I don't care if you do, one straight 42. Or if you do 2, 21 day. And what we've built at Living Well Clinical Nutrition is options to help accommodate crazy schedules and to get rid of all excuses and eliminate all reasons why you can't, and show you a path on how you can live well, be well, and stay well, one bite at a time.
This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. All right, Facebook, I put that number in so you can text Detox20 to 474747 for more information about the Living Well Clinical Nutrition Detox and get one of these bags with all these goodies. It's a vacation in a bag. It's really easy. And Dr. Chapa's office is awesome. So y'all be blessed. Thank you, Dr. Chapa.